Williamson. I am the Seneca County Wildlife Officer. I attended the Ohio State University, originally born and raised in Bucyrus, Ohio. I majored in fish and wildlife management. I actually wanted to be a duck biologist. I had no law enforcement background, never wanted to be in law enforcement. But here I am, and it's the best job in the world being a wildlife officer. So we're the police of the woods. We get to protect our natural resources. For those of you that want to be a wildlife officer, to get hired to qualify, you can't be a convicted felon, which hopefully nobody in here is that. So you get through the hiring process or the application process, then you take a written test, which then goes to a interview panel. So there'd be like 10 people in the room. You would then interview in front of like 10 people on 10 questions, and it's all scenario based. You then would actually, you gotta take a polygraph, a psych eval, and then they kind of pick and choose from there. We hire anywhere from 10 to 12 cadets at a time.
What kind of questions do they ask on the polygraph?
On the polygraph, honestly, very, very personal questions. So they'll ask you, I mean, we're all adults in here, so they'll ask you anywhere from how many times a day you masturbate, how many times you drank and drove, all those kind of questions. And that all comes back to like the psych eval and all that stuff. So we train a lot. We do more, as a state wildlife officer, we do more training than most other agencies. So, but we do 4 session trainings a year and a fall training. And we shoot our firearms, we have to qualify with that annually. Also, we do defensive tactics. We do driving, so we have to drive and back a trailer through cones and all kinds of stuff like that. So here's fun things that wildlife officers do. So injured eagles, you guys see a bunch of eagles in this county. So we get to, that's not one I got there, but we do catch them. They get hit on the road or something, we'll get them rehabilitated up to, back to the wild. That's up in Castelia. If anybody's interested in that, they do tours up there. You can go up there and visit. And there's our chief right here. There's Chief Wecker. And then our chief of law enforcement is this lady here. Her name's Candy Klosterman. So they were out, they released that eagle that hit on the road, had a broken wing. So you get to do snake surveys, fish surveys, and tag fish. So wildlife officers, we have a very diverse job. It's not just law enforcement. So we do boat patrols. Wildlife officers, the conservation mission requires enforcement of not just laws and regulations, but there's a lot of things. They call us the Swiss Army knife of the Division of Wildlife, just because, like I said on the last slide, we don't just do law enforcement, we go out and help fish management, wildlife management, and IME, so we come out, do this, we do recruiting efforts. We have 5 districts in the state of Ohio, so we're up here in District 2, Northwest. District 1 is Columbus, which is where I just came from. District 3 is in Northeast Ohio, and then District 4 is Southeast Ohio, and District 5 is Southwest Ohio. So there's about 20 to 27 counties in each district. Our first wildlife officers were on the job in 1886. We have been called wardens, inspectors, game protectors, and today we are wildlife officers. Most people know us as game wardens, so like when I identify myself in the woods, a lot of times if I say wildlife officers, people look at me funny. So I'll just say game warden and they'll kind of understand and look at me. So that's what our uniforms used to look like. Even when I started in my short seven-year career here, we weren't allowed to have beards. We weren't allowed to have the Maui vests. We had to have like Class A's all the time, so it's just in a short period of time here, it's changed quite a bit. Does anybody in here know the first female game warden? She's on the bottom right there. We are primarily males. We do have 10 female officers, approximately, might be 8, might be 11. I'd have to count them up in my head. The last few classes, we are trying to get more females hired. Females are a good asset. Anytime we would have to pat a female down, we would have to contact a PD or somebody to come handle it. So we have Michelle Butler in Erie County, Kelsey Brockman, she's an investigator on Lake Erie. Taylor Combs is in, she's in Meigs County. No, she was in Meigs County. She just transferred. Jasmine is in District 5. I forget what county she's in. Jade Heisers in District 1. Candy Klosterman, she was an investigator, she's our chief now. Yeah, I think we had eight females, but that's out, there's only one of us per county. So, and then there's some investigators, so there's about 123 wildlife officers in the state of Ohio commission between officers, investigators, and supervisors. So, not very many of us. Well, there's natural resource officers and there's wildlife officers. There's only one wildlife officer per county. The natural resource officers, they're parks and watercraft. So the Ohio Revised Code, we have authority over the 1531 and 1533 section, and then all parks and watercraft, which is like 1517, I think. And then any felony, any misdemeanor stuff, so like obstruction or criminal trespass, I have no authority over. OBIs, I have no authority over that. And then the OAC would be the 1501 section for parks and watercraft, and then our laws, which shows like 1501-31 and then 1501-17 for life jackets, stuff like that. And that's all we have authority on. Other states like Pennsylvania, Texas, Maine, they have full police powers, so they can enforce OBIs and stuff like that. So if anybody's looking into going to another state, those ones you have full police powers. We have full police powers on state property and state property only. Do the OBIs, speed, we can do speed on adjacent roadways to state property, stuff like that. So a lot of people think that game wardens have more authority than any other law enforcement agency. That's not necessarily true when it comes to that side of things. Where that comes into play on the authority side of things that people think we have is our inspection authority. So if you are on a boat and you were fishing, and I saw you fish, I can search your whole boat looking for fish. So I can't look for other things, but I can look for fish. So anywhere a fish could be hidden on that boat, I can look without a warrant. Other law enforcement agencies can't do that. Same with the vehicle. If I saw you hunting, let's say I saw you rabbit hunting, you get in your vehicle, I can search your whole vehicle just because you were rabbit hunting. Can't look for drugs, so I can't look maybe through your purse or whatever. I gotta be able to articulate that a rabbit could be hidden in there. So
even if, like, would you have to see them have a rabbit to consider it rabbit hunting, or just?
if it's noon, I can articulate, there's a possibility you hunted earlier that morning or whatever. And we don't do that. We have good reason to do what we do and why we do it there. So like, let's say there's blood all over the vest, fresh blood, blood on the tailgate. I can't find any rabbits. I'm gonna believe they're stored somewhere in that vehicle. I'll go look for 'em. I'm just using rabbits as an example. But we find a good example of this is at the lake, at Lake Erie, we'll find perch hidden in buckets up under the bow. They always put the perch in there. They'll fillet fish and hide fish on us. So that's how we find it.
You guys allowed on private property?
And we do, yeah, so we can access private property without a warrant. Yep, other states that's being challenged right now, like South Dakota, their officers just lost private property authority. Here, if I see you hunting, I can go on private property and inspect bag limits and hunting licenses.
Do you guys do that a lot?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if I see somebody hunting, I don't go ruin their hunt, but if I have a complaint and somebody's hunting there, I can go out there and do that. Or if there's evidence in the field, I can just go out and go look for it. So we do have private property authority. There's a property in Bloomville. You guys know where Bloomville is? Okay. This lady, she lives in Columbus. I've caught 4 people in there hunting without permission this year. I have a cell camera up on her property about 20 feet up in the tree on a pinch point where hunters walking from Bloomville. So I catch them going in and then I go contact them. One of the individuals who I've had issues with my whole career and other officers' whole career, he's got 11 arrests from us just in his lifetime. But he doesn't seem to get to him. But anyways, he went in on Monday. For the second time I caught him, he stole my trail camera back in August. I don't know how he got it. He wouldn't tell me. Anyways, he got my camera, and a month later, I didn't know who took my camera. The bright individual turns the cell camera on, takes a picture of himself, sends it to my work phone. So we ended up catching the guy. He went to jail for about a month for that. Got charged with theft and criminal trespass. I had to have the sheriff's office handle that because again, I don't have authority over the misdemeanors there. We work together on that. So that same individual goes in there and hunts again on Monday. Same property. He has a protection order out on the property, and obviously doesn't want to be there. And he didn't have a gear permit. So he was charged So I go in there, I begin to contact him, I identify myself twice, he ignores me. I get closer, he picks his crossbow up and points it at me. So I draw my sidearms and get behind a tree, and he did not shoot at me. I told him to drop the crossbow twice. Finally drops the crossbow, I get up, get the crossbow separated. Anyways, long story short, I get him arrested and he did go to jail one day. So that's only the second guy taken to jail for wildlife violations. Most people are suing it because he's getting a felony for the CPO violation and they didn't want to double ding him with felonies, so he's getting the misdemeanor stuff. The Lake Erie Fisheries Law Enforcement Unit up on the lake, and then we do have talks about wildlife management, communication section, which I already discussed. We also do have an undercover unit, so we do have investigators that are undercover, that do all undercover work. So they get the guys selling a fishing game. So people overbag on Lake Erie for walleye and they'll sell the fish. Anything over $1,000 is a felony for that. The headquarters is in Columbus, which is where I was. And here we go. I've already got into this. Another thing that we do that I didn't mention on the enforcement side of things, stream litter. So anybody, I caught some tipping kids, nobody in here, anybody dealt with me in here? So I did catch some tipping kids fishing down the south end of town, and they overhand threw alcohol bottles in the middle of the river, and I watched them do that. So they got, litter, and then we do litter investigations with the Ohio EPA for like spills, so like a manure spill. Did anybody hear about the hog manure spill in Cary recently? Kind of made the news, got all over the place. It was like 15,000 gallons of hog manure was dumped into a field, got in tile, got in a creek, and it killed like 3 miles worth of fish. So we do those investigations, and then we find them for how many fish they killed. We gotta go in and count all the fish. Each fish is worth a certain amount of money, and then we charge for it accordingly. I think it was like close to $10,000 total between the fish and then our costs, because they gotta pay for our time and mileage. You have a question?
I have a question, because up there it says that you guys have law enforcement authority on property owned or administered by ODNR. But earlier you said any state property, so like, if you were at the Capitol building, let's say, that's owned by the state, would you guys have law enforcement authority there?
So I misspoke. So when I say, yeah, so any ODNR state property.
Okay.
Yep, I should have been more specific there. So like the state hospital out here, I don't have full police powers there. Yeah.
We got find the person on phone.
For the spill? Yeah, we're pretty good at investigating those. So we backtrack the tile, and we will go find the field that it was applied to, and then we'll talk to the farmer. Normally they're pretty cooperative, but I can talk about one from Hardin County. It was 30 miles long and killed, I think, $30,000 worth of fish for a guy. So I'll talk about that one at the end though, because that was a hard one to make. So yeah, we work everywhere. We have one in each county, but believe it or not, we have, they work Cleveland, like inner city Cleveland, and we catch guys that fish the Old Bay Bridge. You guys know where that's at? Up on Lake Erie. They catch catfish, and then that's sales are big in the bigger cities, buying and selling fishing game. So our officers there work that a lot. We have the rural stuff. It's a very diverse job, and the job is pretty much whatever you make it. You're your own boss. You get to pick which way you turn out of your driveway every day. You do have a supervisor that approves your reports and everything, but he doesn't tell you what to do. You're your own boss in your own town. You get to run it your own way. It's pretty awesome.
How does your day to day?
Depends on the time of year. So my day to day, this time of year, the month of November is the busiest time. It's even busier than gun season for us, just with hunting without permissions and people shooting deer at night with rifles. That's big in this county for whatever reason. So I'll work till 2, 3 a.m. a lot of times. And we'll catch people with spotlights out the window with loaded rifles. And, yeah, so fun stuff. So that's my day to day this time of year. In the summertime, it's a lot different. I work the Sandusky River a lot. I go to the lake a lot. Get enforcement there. I go to youth events. Again, I think I mentioned earlier, I'll help fish management. We'll do some fish surveys and tag some fish. Wildlife management, we do snake surveys for the Massasauga rattlesnakes that we have down in Killdeer. And we'll pit tag those. So it's really, it's whatever you want to do. It's pretty awesome.
You say tag fish, what is it?
So we put tags on transmitters. I don't know if there'll be a slide on here for that or not, but it'll show, we can do telemetry. We have stuff, buoys out in the lake. When the fish swims by it, hangs it, and we can just do research that way to see how the walleye are traveling based off the water temperatures and stuff like that. To help see where they breed and everything.
Would you say it's the officers doing research, or do you have like someone that takes all of that data and does something with it?
So we have biologists that make a lot more money than me, that have PhDs that do all that. But we just help out, do the dirty work sometimes. For the most part, you work 40 hours a week, and that's it. You can work over, we are given discretionary hours of overtime, to work, but yeah, you work 40 hours. If you don't have kids, you can hunt every single day if you wanted to. You can set your schedule up, work 7 to 3, and then hunt the evening, or work 3 to 11 and hunt the morning, vice versa. It's a very flexible schedule. I make my own schedule. So, it's just,
It's always my fear.
yeah,
If I'm working, I'm gonna spend all my time in the woods.
you're in the woods working and you're in the woods hunting, I mean, every day. But I have kids now, so it slows me down a little bit. You gotta get hired as a wildlife officer first, and then once you're on for about 5 years, I'll let you apply for that. And it's just based off of, once a guy retires, and you can apply, and it's decently competitive, because other people want it. It pays about $20,000 more. Wages, I mean, we have state benefits, which are very good. But wages, I make $39 an hour. So holidays are all overtime.
Starting off, you make 39 an hour?
Not starting off, it took me 5 years to max out. But starting off in the academy now, when I was in the academy, it was like 19. So where I started out at, it's probably 23 now. And our new contract, we're union. So FOP, they always are bidding on us and getting us more money. So like over the next 5 years, I think we have, I think it's like a 9% increase. Okay.
How many investigators do you have? And are those investigators plainclothes? Are they active wildlife officers? Or are they just investigators? Like how does that?
So they're commissioned, they're new investigative stuff, so they're all plain clothes for the most part. The Lake Erie guys, they're in uniform a little bit more because they're in marked boats, doing commercial fish stuff. So they work with commercial guys a lot more. There's 2 out of District 2 that I work with quite often. They're plain clothes, unmarked vehicles all the time, doing undercover stuff. They're assisting us with search warrants or whatever. So anytime I need a search warrant done on a cell phone or a house or whatever, I just tell them what I need. Let them read my report, they type the warrant up for me, and all that. I requested for assistance for PD, I'll go. But anything, let's say there's deer in the house, I would then have to go back and get a separate warrant to go into that house, take the deer, take those violations. Unless I'm included on the warrant. So like Tiffin PD, one time, this guy was a poacher, but he was also into drugs or whatever. So they did a search warrant on the house, they included the Division of Wildlife and myself on the warrant, so I could go in with them. That's super cool. Did you have a question?
So the first part was like, what does the academy look like for you guys? And then the second part was, I know with some written tests, you get like baseline extra points for having a degree in college and then for having military experience. Is that the same for you guys, or is that different?
It is the same for us.
Okay.
So, typically you gotta have a 2-year degree to get hired with us, but the military experience does transfer now, never used to. They're looking at more of the 4-year degrees now for us. Like, it seems like the last few years they're hiring more 4 years than 2 years. We do the 23-week Peace Officer Basic Training Academy through the State Highway Patrol. We do an additional 10-week Wildlife Officer Academy. So it's about 33 weeks of training. So yeah, you gotta become a peace officer first through the Highway Patrol and then our academy. It's a lot more laid back. It's not getting all bad, doing push-ups and sit-ups all day. You still train, but it's not near as intense. So you get to ride 4-wheelers all day up for like 2 days. On one of our trainings, you gotta get ATV trained. So peace officer certified, prior to getting hired, you would just go to the district and you he would work, like we do night flights, so we'll put the helicopter up and we'll fly around the county and call out jacklighters for me. So, and then we'll come in and do a traffic stop and then handle business that way. So, let's say he was peace officer certified prior to getting hired, he would get to go up in a helicopter and do fun stuff like that.
You talked a little bit a minute ago about warrants. What is your guys' administrative warrants able to let you guys do? Because I know there's still things that you guys need a judicial signed warrant to be able to do. So I just was wondering, like, what powers does your guys' administrative warrants have?
So we're looking for fishing game laws, so it'd be 153102, state ownership of wild animals is what would incorporate all of that. So when we're typing a warrant out, pretty much anything under the ORC, OAC, under the wild animal laws, it incorporates all that. So if we take a cell phone, I just took a guy's cell phone a couple months ago and went through everything. I had been doing Snapchat once for a year, getting all of his live Snapchats as they come through. And we got, shooting geese with a rifle out of season, shooting woodpecker, shooting killdeer, shooting from the roadway, polar bagging on deer, all kinds of stuff like that. So, but I'd have to almost show you a warrant, but I don't know if I'm gonna do that because it's under investigation right now. But, so we do some murder investigation, not a whole lot. We have a lot of people that commit suicide on our properties because usually remote areas, mostly southern Ohio, not so much up here for a little bit. Questions that they would ask you on the interview panel would be, they would set up a suicide and you get dispatched to so-and-so property and there's a suicide there. How would you handle it? And it's all scenario-based stuff, so then you would have to just talk and explain how you secure the scene, put tape up, call the coroner, blah, 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 blah. And then they'll give you points for each thing you say if it's good. You don't lose points for saying bad things, but whoever scores the highest is who gets through. One of our investigators, they were working undercover. He was putting a deer decoy out, and one of the guys, they're trying to catch some other guy that I caught on Monday, an habitual offender, doesn't like game wardens. He shot our officer. This was back in 2020. And he ended up having to retire early because he wasn't able to do the job. But, yeah, so one of our guys got shot.
And two-parter, do you have an SRT team, and if I was to work there, could I get SRT certified and hop on with the team?
We're working on it. We have an SRTT team, which is like a man tracking and like survival team. So they're like people that get stranded in App Hills down in southeast Ohio. They'll go in and track, or if there's a manhunt for somebody that's a felon that's fleeing, they go out and track this guy down through the woods. We'll get him. So the SRT team for search warrants and stuff, I'm heading up and we're working on that. That's cool. So we need it because there's a lot of older guys that they'll bust through a door and nobody has their gun drawn. That's an issue. Well, I know, it's bad. So we're working on it.
That's cool.
There's 4 of us doing like clearing houses up here right now. But, swim training. Oh, we have to swim. We have to do a swim test with all this gear on. And it's one of the harder trainings I've ever done, so if anybody's gonna be an officer, we do allow other agencies to come and do that. So officers go out every year, not just wildlife officers, but like PD officers, because they think they can jump in a pool and save a kid. And all this weight, it pulls you right down. So if you're ever gonna be an officer, I recommend